I think we're on. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our payments webinar. We're going to give some folks some time to shuffle in, but if you're here, say hello in the chat. Awesome. There's so many familiar names in the chat today. How's it going, you guys? Awesome. Well, I'm Jess, everyone, from the customer success team. I also have Ren here from our VP of payments on the payments team. And we're super excited to chat a little bit more about our new embedded payment system. I'm going to go ahead and get started just because we have a lot of ground to cover today, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to talk to everybody. So let me share my screen. Just another day in paradise. I hear you, Dan. Awesome. So let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about getting paid with Printavo and our new embedded payments system. We're going to be... Guess I'm stuck. Give me just a second. All right, let me try this again. You gotta love doing it live, you know? Super weird.
Just makes it more real, right?
There we go. It always works when you test it, and then the second you try to go live with it, it's like, no thanks. Awesome. So what we're going to be covering today is how payments work with Printavo. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the benefits of our new embedded payment system. I'm going to go into a live demo in Printavo. We'll talk a little bit more about automating your payment acceptance. We'll go into some slides for where your payments go, what your deposits are going to look like, and reporting. And then also we're going to have a live FAQ with Ren, who's joining us today, to answer some questions that we've been getting pretty frequently. And then also with the remaining time, we will be answering some of our user questions. So let's jump right in. So our new embedded payment system, we just launched our new embedded payment system. So you are able to sign up now. It takes about 10 minutes to sign up, and you can collect and manage your payments from anywhere directly in Printavo. You can collect multiple payment types like credit card, and we now have ACH, which is huge. You can automate your payment collection. We're able to issue partial and full refunds, and we have much more to come, which we'll talk about in a later slide. From the time that we built this slide to today, it says 200 plus shops have already collected more than 7 million. And we've actually processed a little over, what was it, 10 million, Ren, as of the other day. So that's super exciting. But let's look at it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hop into one of our demo accounts here. And I want to show you guys what the automated payment acceptance looks like and how to do it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just go into, I've already sent this out for approval, and I'm going to go ahead and approve this order. So this same flow for your customer, they're going to go in and approve, and then it automatically changes into a payment acceptance button. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is different here is that as soon as I click this, because I have a larger order, I'm able to only see ACH. And this is something that we released just a few weeks ago, where you're able to set a specific threshold. So instead of being able to offer both credit card and ACH, you can say, hey, as soon as this is above a certain dollar amount, I'm only allowing for ACH to be accepted on this order. Now, conversely, we have another smaller order here. Let's just go ahead and find one of our quotes, and we'll send this one out for approval. Now, this $45 order, as soon as I approve it, you're going to see I have the ability to accept both credit card and ACH. Now, for those of you folks that have already signed up for Printavo payments, it's super easy to set up. All you have to do is navigate back to my account and you go to accept payments. This is also where you sign up for Printavo payments, for embedded payments. And down below, if you scroll down, you have the payment methods where you are able to set a specific threshold to only allow for ACH. Now, once you've accepted that payment, you're able to see where all of your payments flow directly under here under financials. You'll still receive a message as soon as that payment is made where it says, congrats, you've received a payment. Your customer is now going to also receive a receipt for their payment. And then it also funnels under the payments and deposit section, which we'll cover in one of our slides. All right, awesome. Now, let's go ahead and I'll just hop back into here. Now, your automation flow, earlier what I was just showing you is how to automate your deposits. And let's talk a little bit more about why I suggest automating your deposits. The first reason, it's always great to have cash on hand, right? So as soon as you send that order out for approval, you are receiving payment up front so that you can, order your goods and you know that your customer has skin in the game. What are the benefits of setting a limit on credit cards? That's a great question, Christy. So one thing that you are able to do is set a limit on your credit cards because you are paying a credit card processing fee. So if your customer, has a $50,000 order, you probably only want to pay that 1% ACH fee capped at $20 instead of paying the 2.9% or whatever rate you've negotiated with your credit card processor. Now, getting your deposits up front is super important because you always have cash on hand. People are used to paying up front. This is something that I've spoken to quite a few of our shops about is, when's the last time you ordered a couch and didn't have to pay for it up front? You don't order the couch, wait the 6 weeks for it to arrive to your house, and then go and pay for the couch. You pay for it up front and then you wait. So I think all of our customers are used to that sort of flow. And so it's easy to request a deposit up front, especially when you put it in terms like that. Now, if you guys wanted to take a second to just screenshot this, I can always send you this deck after our webinar today to go over how to automate your deposit requests. And then it works the same way when you're automating your invoice requests as well. If the status is changed to invoiced, then request a payment of 100% and send an email. If you guys need help with this, feel free to reach out to us at success@printavo.com or directly to your success manager if we've been acquainted so far, and we'll be happy to go through how to automate your payment acceptance. Now, Alan asked a question of adding a credit card fee easily. Now, we did just add a new feature called invoice fees. If you guys aren't on the beta, email us at success@printavo.com and we can get you on it, where you're able to automate fees directly onto your invoice. It's a percentage or a dollar amount based fee. What's it called? A percentage or a dollar amount fee. Now, we wouldn't necessarily suggest calling them credit card fees. There is a little disclaimer on the invoice fees. As soon as you add it add a brand new fee, it says you need to check with your local laws to see if this is something that you can do because there are some states where it is illegal to charge for credit card fees. But Alan, yes, if you look under my account and if you have a field for invoice fees, then you're able to add your fees to all of your invoices. Now, once you've received a payment, it's going to go into your payments page. This is the same flow that you're typically used to. Under financials, you'll click that payments tab. And then as soon as you see any of these payments that have a blue hyperlink attached to them, you're able to see that that was a payment that was made through Printavo using embedded payments. Now, once you've clicked into that, it brings up a little card that tells you more details about that specific payment. And every single day our payments are batched and put into a deposit, which then leads to our deposits page. And this is a new button that you'll be able to see as soon as you sign up for embedded payments. You'll just click that deposits tab at the very bottom. It's going to take you to a screen similar to this one where you're able to see all of your gross payments for the week or for the day. And it also has your fees subtracted out as well. But it's in an easy to see and easy to read format, in addition to being able to see all of the payments and what invoices those payments were from. Now, once you click into one of these small hyperlinks, it's going to bring up your deposits detail. So this is going to show you, your payment transaction ID, the gross amount, that customer's billing information, and the last four of the credit card that they paid with, and then that customer's information as well. Awesome. Now let's hop into Q&A with Ren. So we have Ren, our VP of Payments from the payments team here. And we're going to answer some questions that, we've been getting quite frequently via email or, I'm sure through the chat today as well. And then if you guys have any questions, we're more than happy to answer them too. So let's just hop right in. Hey, Ren, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Saw a lot of names that I do recognize. Nice to see you again. For those that I haven't had an opportunity to meet, hello. My name is Ren Salo. I am the Vice President of Payments here at Printavo. I'm excited to meet each of you and learn more about your shops and share more about what's to come. So thanks, Jess.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Awesome. So let's go into our first question here. Can you tell us a little bit more about why we are offering embedded payments?
Yes, absolutely. So, when we took a step back and we were looking at all of the new feature requests that were coming in and what our shops were needing to be successful, we identified that in order to do that, we needed to consolidate where we were doing development and all of these different integrations and things. So features like ACH and integrated ACH, we needed one place that we could build that and be able to support it for our customers. So that's why we made this decision. It was a difficult decision to make, but we wanted to be able to continue to help our customers grow with their shops. So that was how we were going to be able to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. What about, why should they trust us?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we were looking through our partners and had numerous conversations and things, we identified that we needed to pick somebody who had been in the industry for a really long time with a great reputation. So we went forward with Payrix and FIS. FIS is the leading provider of technology for merchants, banks, and capital markets globally. So we chose them also because not just for the reputation, but also because they were able to help support our customers in their specific needs. So things like that include being able to support large ticket amounts or large order amounts without having unnecessary holds or delays on those, or in some cases just automatically declining them, because we know that that's important for our shops and the cash flow. So we made the decision to move forward with them. They are a level 1 PCI compliant provider. You can see that on Visa's website. If you search for Visa's global registry of compliant providers, you'll find both of them listed there.
Excellent, excellent. And then can I ask why so we chose Payrix because they don't hold, because they don't hold any payments, or, is there anything else, any other reasons why we chose Payrix?
Yeah, that was a big one, but also because it allowed us to offer both cards and ACH in a unified solution, but also it allows us to expand globally in the future, which is absolutely something that we want to do. As of right now, embedded payments is only available in the United States, but that is going to change in the future. We'll be able to offer it. We're going to start with Canada, and then we'll be able to expand from there.
Awesome.
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. What about sign up? How does somebody sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you navigate to My Accounts Accept Payments, you'll see the sign up button there. You'll see the fees that are listed there for your account. We know that fees and rates are really important for our shops. So if you have questions over that or anything about your specific shop, please, we encourage you to reach out to your success manager, success@printavo.com, and they can help you with that process. Once you're ready to submit your application, you'll click the sign up button. And there's a couple of key pieces of information that is going to be required. So That includes your tax identification number and your legal your legal name. That needs to match the IRS records exactly. You'll need to provide your bank account and routing number so deposits can flow to your bank account. And you'll need your business owner information, including date of birth, social security number, all of that. This is a financial account, so you're going to have to provide all of that information in order to get set up. Once you submit the account undergoes what's a review, right? Essentially an underwriting review. And then once you get your approval, which often happens instantaneous, although it can take up to 24 to 48 hours to get approval, then you're able to begin accepting payments right away. So unlike other providers that may do what's called staged underwriting or staged onboarding, which you can sign up, they're going to hold your deposits for a period of time, and then you hit certain dollar thresholds and they undergo other reviews. So you might see another funding delay or so on and so forth. All of that is front loaded to ensure that cash flow can continue to come as quickly as needed.
Awesome. And that's a really, that brings up a really great question. You know, if somebody is expecting a really large order, is there something that folks can do to ensure, you know, ahead of time that they don't have any delays in their payment acceptance?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, absolutely. So if you are expecting a large order, in most cases, those will be cleared right away. But if you want to make sure that you don't have any or experience any delays, you can email into support your supporting invoice for that total so that we can proactively work on your behalf to ensure that there aren't any funding delays.
Awesome.
To date, we haven't been seeing or experiencing those, but I could see, especially at the end of the year, you know, large $100,000 transactions or things coming in, it can be helpful to get ahead of that.
Awesome. Now let's talk a little bit more about, you know, when funds will hit everyone's account.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a difference in deposit timeframes for cards and for e-check. This is because they run through different systems in the background. But for cards, they're typically settled in 2 to 3 banking days, so not on holidays or weekends. There's a cutoff time of 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So anything that comes in after 9:30 is actually considered the next banking day, is included in the next deposit. Our default is to send funds on a daily basis. We have had shops where they need it weekly or even monthly. We can support that on request. So if that's something that you need, you can email into support to get that set up on your account. ACH or e-checks, on the other hand, as opposed to 2 to 3 banking days, can be between 5 to 6 banking days. And this is because there can be what's called an e-check return or an ACH return that occurs later on in the process. And so the goal is to not fund anything that actually isn't going to be available at the end of the day, right? So sometimes it still does happen where it deposits to your bank account and then there's an e-check return later. But the lengthier time frame is to catch as many as possible so that that doesn't occur to your account. So I know that funding is important for our shops. We do support next day funding options. Additional restrictions may apply. So please, if that's something that's of interest to you, reach out to success@printavo.com for more information, and we can work to get that enabled on your account.
Awesome. Thank you. And then what about reporting? So do they have access to reporting and dashboards?
Yeah, another great question. So you already touched on the reporting that's available within the product, within Printavo, between payments and deposits. But we know that there's oftentimes other information that might be needed for, you know, accounting or reconciliation purposes as well. So we do have access to an advanced reporting that can be enabled on your account. This includes, we'll get to it in a second in the next slide so you can visualize it, but you can also pull reports that includes transaction details, your balance details, a monthly profit and loss statement, deposit history, and much more. So if you'll go ahead and go to the next slide, I'll actually walk through what the dashboard looks like.
Sure.
So when this is enabled, you can log into a dashboard where you can see today's sales. You can see what's scheduled to deposit to your account and on the date to expect that deposit to send to your account. You can also see your funds at a snapshot that includes, you know, year-to-date activity and other important statistics that's important for running your shop. On the left-hand side, that's highlighted in red there, there's also additional tabs that you can log into. So payment history is essentially the same thing as your payments tab within Printavo. The only difference is that you're not going to see any of the manual payments. You're only going to see credit card or ACH payments that have occurred there. You'll also be able to see if a transaction declined. You'll see why it declined. So sometimes I know that's helpful from a customer service perspective to be able to help your cardholders understand why the transaction didn't go through. This is where you could come to see that. Disputes, in the event that you do receive a chargeback or a dispute, that's where you would go to manage those, respond to them, either accept liability or provide supporting documentation. Payment returns is similar to disputes, but that's where you would view e-check returns that we talked about a little bit briefly before that come in. Both disputes and e-check returns are also visible within Printavo. You will see them listed there on your invoice in your payment history, or in your invoice history as well. Withdrawals is the same thing as deposits on our page there, but you'll also still have access to that. And then the reports that we had talked about, you can actually pull reports through reporting, and you can download those in Excel or a CSV file.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about the migration strategy. I know everyone here has received the email that we will be migrating everyone over to payments. So let's talk a little bit more about, what to expect in January. Do I have to migrate in January? Is it as soon as I come back from the holidays, we're going to have to sign up for payments? So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, great question. No, in January, you do not have to be over to the new system in January. If you actually go to the next tab, it kind of talks through some other things that'll help me visualize it, maybe for other people too. But starting in January, we will begin sending out notifications to our existing customers. And we will be doing this in waves. And we're doing that so that we can provide the best support for our customers to ensure that if you need assistance, we're here to help you. We want to make this transition as easy as we possibly can. So we're doing this in a staged way. So that's where you'll start receiving emails in January. Then you'll receive a follow-up email later on, and then again, and then we would like to have everybody over within 6 weeks to ensure that there aren't any disruptions to your processing. If at any point in time you need additional time to make that transition, it's either not the right time for your shop, it's going to create hardships for you, you're currently under contract with an existing your existing provider, or have a capital loan financing that you're going through, or anything like that, no problem. We're here to help. Just email success@printavo.com, and we'll make sure that we take care of you during that period of time. So thank you for pulling up this slide. I forgot this one was in here. Yes. Anybody needing more time, just let us know. We're here to work with you. We want to make this as easy as we can.
Awesome. And then what about, we have ACH, but what else is coming with our new embedded payments?
Yeah, this is where I'm really excited. So thanks for teeing that one up. We have integrated ACH, which was a huge win for our shops who are benefiting from that today. Excited to hear those success stories. We also have the ability to issue refunds and partial refunds as well, built within the app. So you don't have to navigate multiple places. It's all right there. Coming in the future, we're going to be providing stored billing accounts. So if you have repeat purchasers or customers, they'll be able to store their payment information on file to make checkout much easier for repeat orders. We'll also be working on statements. What I mean by that is if you have customers that have multiple invoices that they like to pay at once, right now in the system, I'm sure you're aware you have to go and pay each one individually. Statements would allow you to group all of those outstanding balances due and be able to make a one-time payment on those in one step, as opposed to the multiple invoices as it is today. We are also going to be launching lending services. So, merchant cash advance, capital financing options for our shops to be able to leverage. Hopefully we'll have some exciting news to share in the beginning of the year as to what to expect there. Very excited about that functionality coming soon too. I did mention that refunds are already available, full and partial. That is true for invoices. Partial refunds for merch is coming very soon, as well as our ability to support our international customers. Again, we're going to be starting with Canada and then continuing to grow from there. Other exciting things that aren't listed here that are coming is improved QuickBooks functionality and sync, where we'll be syncing both refunds and processing fees directly into QuickBooks. The ability to support variable amounts. So what I mean by that is being able to send out a payment request. Right now it's for whatever's on the invoice, but they may want to, your customers may want to go ahead and pay the full amount at the time of at the time of the first payment request, being able for them to input that value there so that they can actually complete the order as opposed to just paying a down payment. So things like that are coming.
Cool.
Would love your feedback if there's anything else that would be valuable to your shop. We do check Canny. We are working through that board, or you can submit your requests to support at Printavo as well, and we'll be fielding those and prioritizing them.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide, which is going to be what resources are available. And then I think we can take some user questions as well after this. So we want to, let's talk a little bit more about the resources that we do have to help you migrate. You guys are able to scan these QR codes that are on the screen right now. I will leave those up during our Q&A with Ren. But the first one here is going to be an FAQ for sign up. So it's just going to walk you through the sign up process, what you need to sign up, what what to expect on each individual page, any information that you need or have handy so that you can sign up, and then what happens as soon as you press the you accept the terms and conditions and click sign up. Now, the second one here is going to be payments, refunds, and deposits. So it's going to be all of the best practices. Once you've signed up and moved over to embedded payments, this is going to teach you how to use it. We should probably also have a little bit more about the automation or automating your payments on this page, but this is more or less what happens, like what the customer sees, how to request payment, where do your payments go once you've received your payments, and then how to navigate the deposits page, how to navigate refunds, and then any disputes that come forward from your payment acceptance. And then lastly, we also have our migration FAQ. This is going to be recapping essentially everything that we just spoke about during the webinar today. And then you're also learning more about the migration strategy. Awesome. Let's, if you're ready, Ren, we can jump into some user questions.
Yes. I'm just going to take the first one, if that's okay, that I saw come in. But
sure.
Point of sale hardware for walk-in customers, or will we have to fill out their credit card info on the computer portal? Jaden, that's a great question, and something I should have mentioned. We do want to support in-person payments through our embedded platform. We do not have that functionality today. We do still support a Square integration, however, for those in-person payments. Otherwise, yes, you can still continue to process those by manually keying that information in when they come in.
Awesome. I have a question here that was upvoted a lot. If I'm understanding this correctly, by the end of Q1 23, embedded payments is a requirement for continuing to operate Printavo at our shop.
Yes. So at the, something came up.
Oh.
At the end of...
I clicked a button, sorry.
It scared me. I haven't done these before. Okay. Sorry. Yes, if you're understanding correctly, by the end of Q1 23, embedded payments is a requirement for continuing to operate. Yes, that is true. If you need additional time, we're here to work with you, and we can work to give you some additional time to make that transition if it doesn't work for your shop or anything like that. That's where you would email success@printavo.com. But yes, at the end of Q1, we will be removing certain third-party processing integrations. from the user interface. So what that means is PayPal is going to continue to process as it always has. You can continue to toggle back and forth for our existing customers. We also want to be able to provide some improvements to that experience and then expand it to our new customers as well. As far as the in-person payments, we do still support Square today, and that integration that will continue after Q1 as well. If you need additional time, we will work with you in making that as smooth of a transition as we can.
Awesome. And then I think I'd also like to point out that Printavo will still work if you choose to opt out of migrating to payments at all. We have quite a few shops that aren't using Printavo to accept payments whatsoever. And it continues to work. You know, you are able to manually log your payments if that's the direction you so choose. So the way that I read that is, you know, Printavo is not going to shut down if you don't migrate. The automated payment acceptance just won't work.
Great, thank you. Yes, I misunderstood the question. Thank you, Jess.
All good. So we have a question here. How quickly are we notified of insufficient funds for ACH?
Yes, so that should typically happen in about 3 banking days is when you would see it in your account. So there are instances where an issuing bank has not necessarily provided the file in time, and so it can last a little bit longer than that. But typically it's about on the 3rd banking day you would see it in your account.
And then what's the whole deposit time for each credit card and ACH?
Can you repeat that question?
So I think the question here is how long, I know that we answered this earlier, but how long does it take for a user to receive their funds?
Oh, gotcha. Yes, thank you. Good question. So again, there's a different timing, funding time frame for cards than for ACH. For cards, they're typically, it's, you know, T plus 2 days is what is called in the industry. So transaction date plus 2 banking days for cards typically. We do say 3 depending on how quickly the bank that we send the funds to post the credit. Most banks do it the same day they get that. So that's not typically a problem, but we do say 2 to 3 banking days for that purpose. E-checks, on the other hand, are 5 to 6 banking days. Again, that is to try and account for that potential return time frame.
Awesome. And then what about, let's chat a little bit more about rate analysis, because there's a lot of questions in here about rates and, you know, what does this cost? So if we could talk a little bit more about, you know, the flat rate model, you know, a little bit more about are there any hidden fees? You know, what should they expect?
Yeah, great question. So yes, our default is what's called a flat rate pricing model. This is standard in the industry, especially for software companies like ourselves. What that means is that regardless of what kind of card you process, you are charged the same flat rate and a per item fee that goes along with that. Those are then netted from your deposit prior to deposit. Excuse me, I know that there are certain shops that do not or have not been using flat rate pricing. We can support other pricing models if that's needed. How we've been handling those so far is you would email your success manager. They would escalate to the payments team. We would do an analysis to see what we can do to help support your shop, and then provide that response back and, you know, go back and forth a little bit on how can we make this work for your shop. But yes, our default is that flat rate pricing model. If you have questions or about that or about your specific shop and your pricing, please reach out to your success manager. We typically request 2 months of previous processing statements. This allows us to determine what's best for your shop and what we can recommend.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see what else we have here. If we apply and set up for Printavo payments, do we have to switch immediately? That's a great question.
That's a great question. No, you do not, actually. You can set it up. You can also test it out. You can still toggle back and forth during this period of time, kind of see how it's going to work, how it's going to flow. You can also just set it up and not use it at all right now. That's totally fine. Yes.
Awesome. And then the way that you guys would switch it is you would head to My Account, Accept Payments. Any new customers won't be able to see that page, with step 2 where you have to select from a drop-down menu. But any of our existing shops or the shops that have been with us for quite some time, you do have under accept payments a step 2 where you toggle on which processor you'd like to use. Oftentimes we see shops switching from Stripe to PayPal so that their customer can pay with PayPal. But this is just, an additional option there that's called payments. And when you're ready to make the switch, all you have to do is select payments, click update, and then there's no change to your user experience or your customer's experience. All of your payment requests are the same. If you had a payment request pre-existing on your invoices, those are the same as well. And it essentially, nothing really changes except all of your deposits and payments are going to be in the Printavo app and not out, in an outside third-party platform. Awesome. Let's see what else we have here. How do I find out the fees for the credit card transaction? You're able to see that on the deposit. I think the way that I'm reading that is for the deposits page.
Yeah. Do you mind going back to the, there's a screenshot and we can just walk through that screenshot a little bit more.
Here we go.
One more. Yeah, there we go. Is there any way to make that bigger, or am I just showing my age here?
So earlier it had a...
It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to get really close to the screen, everyone. Apologies in advance, but in the screen, you'll see up top, you'll see that, excuse me, the amount that's highlighted in green. And the top is the amount that would have deposited to the bank account. And it also has the date. That's the date that the deposit was sent to the bank account. And then you'll see the gross amount. That's the total that all of the invoices or orders or sales had, the total amount that had been processed for that day and batched and included in that deposit amount. And then you'll see the fees total. You'll see on this screenshot in our example here, I think that's $76.
It's $76.46.
Okay, $76.46. That's the total fees. And right now you'll see that they are all lumped, if you will. So you'll see that the per item fee and the discount rate are all included in one here. So you would just take out your per item fee if you wanted to see, the discount rate that you're being charged there, and then run that against the gross sales to get your effective discount rate if you're trying to validate.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Do we have a timeline for switching over to Canada?
The question is, do we have a timeline for when we'll be live in Canada?
Yes. So when we'll be live for international customers? Do we have an idea for when that will, start?
Yeah, that's a great question. If it was up to me, we would have started last week, but it's not up to me. No, I'm just kidding. No, so it is a separate development effort and development lift. There's additional rules, laws, regulations, things that we have to comply with. Ideally, we'll be able to launch this in the last half of 2023. That's the goal. That's the target. But it will depend on numerous factors as to whether or not that happens. But we will keep this group and all of our shops apprised of what's occurring.
Very cool. Thank you. That's super exciting. And sorry, I'm just reading through some of these questions here. I think that's more of a comment. How do we get access to the payments portal screen? And is that live or just historical? That's a really good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, during the presentation, we're working to get that enabled on all of our accounts. Right now, it's a quote unquote opt-in. So you would email your success manager or success@printavo.com requesting it. We would enable it. Right now, you can actually navigate to it by navigating to your deposit screen and then clicking which is confusing, I'm going to admit it right now, you would click on Manage Disputes. It has been historically just our disputes portal that's being expanded to include these additional data points, so that name will change in the future to be more reflective of it being the payments portal. But for now, it just says Manage Disputes. You would click there and you would see this. If you do that now and you're not seeing this view, then your account hasn't been updated with that access. Again, just email success@printavo.com and we can get that turned on for you.
Excellent. And then I've also seen a couple of questions come over for QuickBooks Online. I know that you briefly touched on that for a moment, but if you could chat on that a little bit more.
Sure. So the QuickBooks Online integration has been updated earlier before we launched to allow for all of the new sales, including e-checks and ACH, to automatically post as long as it always has. Apologies. So any of your invoices that are already on automatic sync would continue to sync for both cards and e-check transactions that come in. The improvements that we're making and are being worked on right now will also include syncing processing fees to QuickBooks and refunds. Right now, that is a manual general ledger entry that would need to be made currently. And as soon as those improvements have been made live, we will be sure to communicate that to our shops.
Awesome. That's super exciting. I know that fees are a huge issue for a lot of shops, having to calculate what fees are taken out. A lot of shops do it monthly, some do it daily, some, have a hard time with it entirely. So that's exciting to hear that we'll just automatically be adding that to the QuickBooks side. I did see a question come through for set up the invoice fees. So invoice fees are in beta. I'm going to take that one. Invoice fees are in beta, but your success manager would be happy to get that turned on for you. So if you guys don't have invoice fees under my account, it should be like the 7th one from the very top, which would be like invoice information. Just email us and we'll be able to get that toggled on for you. Answer that one.
I see one that I'd like to answer, if that's okay, Jess, while
Sure.
you're finding answers. Charles, I see you asked, can we get the ability to download full data so we can use accounting software other than QuickBooks Online? Yes, and the advanced reporting that we touched on briefly, there are those additional reports that you can pull there that, again, you can pull down in either a CSV or Excel, and that can be used for your other integration that's not QuickBooks Online.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just looking through these questions here to make sure we don't have any that we haven't answered yet. We answered that one. QuickBooks Online, we talked about that one. What does it look like? What does it look like in a face-to-face transaction?
Great question. I think we touched on it briefly, but let me go a little bit more into detail. So again, we do not currently have card readers or card present transactions built into the system. That is on our roadmap and something that we want to offer. Seems like there's actually a lot of interest in that, so we may need to move that up on our roadmap priority list. But for right now, if you're going to be using embedded payments and you don't already have a Square integration or want to set up a Square integration, then when somebody comes in face-to-face, you can pull up your invoice, go ahead and hit pay now, and key in the information on behalf of your customer. In the event that you do want to use Square, that is still supported and will continue to be supported.
Awesome. And then, Nicole asked a really great question. Do we have any good verbiage to give their customers about the security of their banking info? And if we don't have anything created, is there something that we can direct folks to know that their customers are, safe providing their banking account information?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. On the migration landing page that there's a QR code for at the end of this, we do have an FAQ about security. If that doesn't meet your specific need, Nicole, for what you're looking for, we're happy to draft something for you. But we do talk about how we have security It's passed through. We don't actually store any payment information on our systems at all here at Printavo. All of that is securely transmitted to our payments partner, FIS and Payrix, who are level 1 PCI compliant, which is the highest level of security and compliance that you can be, and also meets NACHA's requirements or ACH's requirements for security for banking account information as well.
Awesome. And then I saw a question come through about, it's a little bit of a question about toggling back and forth. So if they have PayPal, can they toggle over to payments and vice versa?
One more time. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing.
Sorry. So being able to toggle back and forth between, are they able to toggle between PayPal and payments?
Yes, and for our existing customers, they'll be able to toggle back and forth after Q1 as well. We do have on our roadmap to make improvements to that checkout experience with PayPal. When that happens, we'd also like to extend that to our newer customers as well, but that's not available today. But for our existing customers, you can continue to use it as you have. Yes.
Excellent. Very cool. We've already talked about that. Is Printavo merging with Inksoft? That's a good question. We've answered that one. Sorry, there's so many questions in the chat. I'm just trying to keep up, everybody. Do you know if there's a yearly compliance questionnaire?
Oh, great question. So no, we do not require a validation of PCI compliance, which is what I believe is being asked here. So if that isn't correct, then I believe this is from Janet. Janet, please provide some clarification. But I believe the question you're asking is whether or not you have to validate PCI compliance, which is the payment card industry data security standards compliance, and provide that to the processor. No, that is not a requirement. We do not have PCI fees. We do not charge non-compliance fees. With our flat rate model, really it is just the flat discount rate, the variable 2.9% or 3% or whatever, and the flat per item fee. We don't charge any additional monthly fees or, to my point earlier, PCI compliance fees, monthly maintenance fees, or anything like that on our flat rate pricing models.
They're very excited about that. You can see that in the chat. Awesome, you guys. I do want to be conscious of everybody's time here. So, we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any other questions or if there's anything else that you wanted to continue chatting about, we are always here for you. So I'm Jess, the lead customer success manager. I'm sure you saw in the chat, we have quite a few of the other success team members here to help you as well. And you can always reach out to us at success@printavo.com. Our support team is always here to help you as well. They get back to you super quickly. And they're always available at support@printavo.com. I just want to say thank you for everybody for joining in today. If there is something that maybe is still on your mind or we still need to discuss, feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, Bren, thank you so much for joining today as well. It's super and greatly appreciated.
It was nice to see everybody virtually.
Right? Awesome. Well, we'll let everybody get back to their day today, and you guys have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.